must be a Wednesday, and I'm hanging out with the man that's working with the class of 2020.
Yep.
So it's official here at U Central Sports. I'm Charles Morse with the original Coach Carter, where we come to you every Wednesday at 11 p.m. talking sports and more. As we say, sports is more than just a game. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. How you doing this evening?
Hey man, any day above ground, I'm great. So I'm good.
Amen.
I'm good. I'm good. So listen, now that it's school has started, right?
Oh yeah. School started last Friday for us.
Yeah.
We're a day. This is actually 3.5 days for us.
Right. And so, how long does it take to get back into the swing of things on the average?
Probably about a week to 2 weeks, because there are a lot of changes that takes place, adjusting class schedules, adjusting coverage for certain kids. There's still some kids that may possibly come into the program. But it takes about 2 weeks for everything to kind of settle down and get the routines kind of stabilized, and then we're off and running.
Okay. All right. Well, it's funny because it's been so long since I've been in school, but I think about that whole week and what it feels like and all the excitement that
Hmm.
comes with it and the
Oh
enthusiasm,
yeah,
all of
yeah.
that with the new clothes, the books, the new teachers, and all of that before we all settle in. And for some odd reason, the summer seemed so much longer back then. But we talked about a day is a day, a hour is an hour, a minute is a minute, a month is a month. But I guess it's all the perspective. But
Yeah,
you
you
know, it's
got
a,
you got
it's an exciting time.
well, you got seniors that are excited because this is their senior year, and then you got freshmen coming in. They're excited because it's their first year of high school. So you got two real broad. You got two swings of spectrum there, and then you got the kids in the middle just trying to get to the next level. So, but it's all exciting. It's a new year, new faces, some familiar faces. You start a football, and everybody gets behind that. Volleyball is starting. They have their first match this weekend, or a preseason, and they actually get on the court next Tuesday. So it kind of comes really quick. We start classes, all the rudimentaries of classes and all those things that go along with that. But then the sports program, they're cranking up as well. Basketball is in its early stages of conditioning. Football getting ready for their first official game. They've had two preseason. One will be this Friday. Volleyball this weekend, a tune-up tournament. And next week they're added on Tuesday, and then next Friday the football team starts their regular season.
Season.
So it's very exciting, very exciting right now.
Well, I got a couple of questions for you. One, can you name most of the sports now? Because when I was in school, a lot of the sports that they have now, they didn't have back when I was in school. So, what are the sports that they have in high school now, Vince?
Well, I can't speak for all high schools, but I can say what we have. We have hockey, tennis, golf, soccer, football, basketball, lacrosse. You got track, field, cross country, softball, um, and it might be something else that I'm not aware of. We got a full spectrum of sports, and it's all. I
Wow.
mean, we go from hockey to lacrosse, um, to soccer, boys and girls, co-ed soccer. And then
What?
you got your other traditional sports is baseball, basketball, and football. So it's exciting time because it's all we even track and field, and all those sports that I just named, we have won championships in
Now,
every
now
last
you
one
just
of them,
named
with exception of
I mean, you just named a bunch of sports. Now, how many coaches
absolutely.
are there at the school? I mean, how many coaches?
Well, each sport has a coach. Like football has about eight coaches, eight maybe 10, 14, 15 coaches. Baseball has somewhere around five or six. I know in our program right now we got three, possibly four. Girls have four. So now one of the things that's very popular here. You have some sports that are called club sports that are really outside of the school but attached to the school. So those club programs have, they play for the school, but they're actually a separate entity. They're made up of school kids, but they're a separate entity. So like the hockey team, the ice hockey, and then the field hockey team. Those guys are represented through the school, but they're off campus. So each sport has at least three or four coaches. Soccer has boys soccer that went to the finals this year, got to the championship game. As I recall, they have five coaches. So you're talking a minimum of three to four coaches per sport, with the exception of golf. I think you got maybe one coach in the golf team. You got one coach on the tennis team. Um, Cross can track the
So,
field side. You got
so
five coaches.
hold on, wait a minute. So there's track, then track and field.
Yeah, they
So
got
there's
maybe
track,
about
there's track and field.
right,
There's lacrosse.
right.
There's tennis.
Tennis, there's
There's
golf,
basketball. There's
right?
football. There's
There's
hockey. There's
baseball,
volleyball.
right?
Okay, so right now I'm up to 8. What is it that I'm missing?
Well, you see, you have football, basketball, baseball, softball, volleyball, baseball, hockey, lacrosse, um,
And you said track and field.
track and field. Yeah, so it's about 10, maybe
Wow.
about 10 different sports that we and we are very well represented in each one. I know from individual tracks we won states this year, team won states, and then individually we had some got wrestling. They got wrestling. They went to state and won. So we have wrestling as well.
So, so about how many students are at your school, Vince?
Oh, that's a good question. I really can't quote that number to you, but we are a pretty large group. Charles, the most amazing thing, I think according to Florida standards, we might be a 7 or 8A school. But we as much as we do on the the athletic side,
Uh
we're
huh.
far more recognized for our academic accomplishments. Is
Okay.
really what we're known for. We
Now
we had
I am gonna date myself, Vince,
all right.
because I've been out of Jacksonville for so long, and some of these schools I don't know them now, and I don't know how they have divided them up, because when I was in school, Vince, there was 1A, 2A, 3A, and 4A, and that was it. I don't know what they
That's
got now, because
they up to
I
nine
mean,
A.
it's when they say what they say now, I have no idea, because there was only one
Well,
A, 2A, 3A, and 4A, and that was it.
you have to. You also have to consider where you are. Each, like in Florida, they have 9A. I think they're up to 9A. Here, if you are 3A, you're a big school. It just depends on how they characterize it, what criteria they put into it. So you can say, well, we're a three, under we're three class nine AAA. Really, we're a 3A school. It's a little confusing, but we're a big school, and when you compare it to Florida, we would probably be a part of that 9A category. Pretty good size school.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm gonna have to ask somebody, because I've been gone for so long, and Reigns and Reebok were such a big rivalry, and probably always will be. For people who don't know about Reigns and Reebok, they're two schools that are like right next door to each other. And the way that it is that like, I don't know how it is now, but you can live here and your neighbor could go to Reebok and you can go to Rains. And it was just very common throughout the whole neighborhood, and a big neighborhood at that. So here you are from the time that you're in kindergarten on up to high school. You have all these people that you know in the neighborhood, and that you play each other because you've been playing each other. Since you were a little kid, and so they were 4A. Reigns and Reebok was 4A, but last I heard, like one of them was like a 6A, another one was like a 3A, and something like that. So I don't know how and why they do what they do the way that they do it, but it's weird to me now. I don't understand it, but I know when I look at some of the high school tournaments now, when it's tournament time for them to go to state, I'm looking at all these different divisions. That's how come I know. That's the only way that I know, because I'm looking at all the different divisions, and I'm totally confused about how they come up with them, because back again, there was only four of them when I was coming up.
Well, population has a lot to do with it. The redistricting and population of students coming into the area, that has changed significantly with the growth that you had, particularly like in the Florida area, where you continue to have people coming in and they're building a couple of new schools, and so that population drives up. That changes the size of the school based on the number of students that are involved. So that has a lot to do with it. Sometimes they shift for and I can't really speak to some of the decision on that, what criteria they use, but primarily they're looking at trying to accommodate and keep everything as level as possible, but also create separation where needed. So it's here in this area we have a lot of private schools as well. You have probably as many private schools as you have public schools. So there's always a challenge here for bodies, whether they're academically strong or whether they're athletically strong. So it's really a tough competition. And like for instance, in our case, we're 2 blocks. We're more probably 3 blocks top away from Brentwood Academy, and they are very well known. They're the Mount Verde, if you would, here, and we 3 blocks from them. And so we're competing in sometimes for the same student. They have, obviously they recruit because they're a private school, but from the academic side, we're competing for the same student and sometimes for the same athletic student as well. And and oddly enough, we don't play each other, but we will be playing each other this year for probably the first time in a while. So a lot of competition. I mean, there are two other private schools right around us, and we got our crosstown rival within the same city limits. Uh, and between the two of us, these two high schools, there might be 8 private schools around us.
Good.
So it really makes it competitive.
Right. Let me ask you a question. Let me see if I can ask this question correctly. I have it in my mind, but I don't know if I can put the words to my thoughts of what I'm trying to ask you. With the school that you mentioned, like the Mount Verdes, can you give me the advantage of disadvantage? Because when I think of Mount Verde, I think of a school that recruits basketball. I mean, that's what I know them as. So is there an advantage or disadvantage from not only from the academic point of view, but from an athletic point of view? Are there any advantages towards schools like Mount Verde when it comes to athletes, whether or not I get an opportunity to be exposed or be a better basketball player or anything like that? Is it pros and cons?
There is
How do
something
you view that?
that,
It's kind of like,
okay.
AAU versus this, that. How do you view, not, and I'm not talking about necessarily Mount Verde, but I'm talking about schools like Mount Verde who evidently put a strong emphasis on the recruiting of these basketball players. And I'm not saying it like it's
Well,
bad. I'm just saying I
they
know that they
recruit
put
all
out some
sports.
great basketball players.
In the case of Mount Verb, but and other private schools, they put out more than just basketball players. And they're given sports because they aren't governed by the same rules as high school. They can go out. They also recruit on the academic side as well. Some of the brightest students, which has enhanced their ability for funding, enhanced their ability for scholarship offers, enhances their ability to compete in the marketplace that some high schools can't compete. Thus, they can charge these high fees and guarantee this kid on the academic side some exposure to the next level opportunity he might be looking for to go to a specific school or specific. Probably one of the challenges that we have at our school, we are in kind of a category because of the high academic excellence, but we're a public school. Difference being from a private school, obviously we can't recruit. We don't give out scholarships for kids to come to school. It's just you have to come and go through whatever the process is for you to get in. Well, you could leave our school and go to BA down the street, possibly get a scholarship, but you got fees you have to pay. You got a tuition you've got to pay. But that tuition turns over into opportunities that you don't always get in high school. So there are a lot of pros. There are some cons to it as well. But uh, I see a lot of upside to it if that's what you want to do. It's costly. It does cost. It's a very costly decision to make, but it has tremendous benefits.
Yeah, well, that's what I was asking, because at the time, and I hope I can, I can phrase this right. At the time when I was in junior high school, we, my ninth grade year, we didn't play against them in my, that I knew that my junior high school, when I was in seventh grade, we didn't play against them in eighth grade, but somehow or another they became part of our division, and that was Bowles High School in Jacksonville. And I didn't understand the dynamics of Bowles. All I knew was that it was an all-white team. All I know was is that when we went to their gym, it was like Madison Square Garden. They had a rubber court, and I didn't understand that it was a private school. All I know was that they had some really good basketball players back then. As I got older, I started to understand. Oh, Bowles is this private school, like Bishop Kenny, and there was a gentleman by the name of Rick Carson that came out of there that played against us that went to University of Florida. He was like 6'6", 6'7" forward. That was a pretty good ball player back then, and that's when I started to understand schools like Bowles, because when I was in ninth grade, they somehow or another they ended up in our division, and we ended up playing against them, and it was a total different type of atmosphere. Going there and that experience. That was our first time in a gym that had fiberglass backboard events. It's like wow,
Yeah,
and a rubber court.
that type of experience and dynamic and extremities that don't exist now like that. You may have a private school that may be. I got a friend of mine who just took a head coaching job at an all girls school, and they have from an academic side, they are very competitive on the athletic side. They're a little challenged, if you will, at this time. Small gym, three rows of bleachers, and they're about they will end up playing some of the bigger schools because they take their enrollment and double their enrollment in order to make them competitive on the athletic side. That's a rarity because most of these schools own 7, 8, 10, 12 acres of land, and still expanding and have very strong academic and athletic programs. And you see a lot of high schools that compete very well from an equipment standpoint, but still these guys, their budgets, they're paying their coaches more than they're paying guys just to coach, and sometimes as much as the schools are paying a guy to coach and teach. All this
Wow.
guy's got to do is just coach. That's the difference between private schools. They can raise that money, and some of the people that are going to these schools are very wealthy people. They want a better education for their child, and they're willing to pay for it. And
Okay.
so that's one of the major differences that I see that I've experienced, and the experience is it's a far different experience. It's a top shelf experience in most cases. Yeah, the kid still has to go and perform, but he's got such a great environment to perform in. There's a school, one of the schools here, Innsworth, just built a huge indoor swimming facility, would rival any college uh, anywhere in this country. And
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
it.
Actually, I was going to ask you if you guys had swimming. Oh, say hi to Donnell. He said hi to you. He's in.
Hey, Donnell. Yeah,
But
and
yeah,
we do
yeah.
have an out.
I was going to ask you about swimming because that was one of
Yeah,
the
we do
sports that you didn't mention.
oversight. We do have a swim team.
Okay. Wow.
A
Oh,
swim team. Yeah.
Donnell, let me ask you this right here, Donnell. Is it common to have a private school there in Vegas? Because it's very common here in the state of Florida. And what you're saying there too, Vince, is very common to have private high schools there in Tennessee as well. What, Vince? Well, right. So, Vince, what I'm asking is, Donnell, as well, because here there are certain schools that really emphasize on basketball. Vince was talking about it earlier, and that was the Mount Verde. That's where what's the guard that plays for Philly? Philly, the one that can't shoot.
Simmons, Simmons,
What's his
Ben
name, Vince?
Simmons, Ben Simmons.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's where he went to school. And let me see what you
Now,
say.
now, Charles, don't get confused. You got the schools like IMG who are really targeting, and you've got a couple other schools, private schools, Mount Verde concept focusing heavily on the game of basketball. They don't have any other sports, but they are strong academically as well. But they are focusing on ball players and getting them prepared to go. IMG is such a school, and you guys now there you got golf, you got football, you got basketball, but these are elite students that from an athletic standpoint that are going through there. So we're uh, heavily placed with private institutions here, even church schools. Church schools that have church that churches that have schools themselves that put out strong programs from because of the economic stability. Some of these churches have some huge facilities. Their schools are huge, and they're all on their own properties. Sitting right on 25 acres of land. So they build these monstrous institutions, very strong academically, and they compete very well athletically.
Yeah, I've seen some of these private schools that I've seen stories on that they're small schools, but they got strong sports. Well, they like some of them have like really good basketball teams.
Right.
It's a small school, but they have like really strong basketball teams. Now, Donnell said, what is Faith Lutheran
Mm.
and Bishop Gorman in Vegas, and something about IMG is a stud institution. I,
Yeah,
IMG.
it's in Florida.
Oh, okay, okay, all right, all right. Well, again, my first encounter, and well, I started to understand was Bowles High School, and they had a really, really good. As a matter of fact, they were the only team that we lost to in my ninth grade year. We lost to them. Well, actually, the first game, well, okay, we lost to them twice. Okay, and we played them for the championship for the county championship. That's when we beat them. But out of the whole time that I played at my junior high school, those are the only two losses that we had the entire time. And so they had a really good team. But we came back and we beat them for the state, I mean, for the county championship. So that's why I will always know Bowles High School because it was kind of like it was a shocker that they can come into our gym, which is a whole nother story, and beat us. That was like unheard of. That was unheard of. So, yeah. Oh, I got a segment here called which we want to start as soon as the season start because I got to ask Danielle if he's a Cowboy fan. But we got a segment called "How About Them Cowboys?"
Mm-hmm.
We gonna start that the first week of the NFL, and so you got to give me a little something, something each week on the Cowboys, which I know you won't have a problem because we can talk about the Cowboys for the next 45 minutes. And I
That's
did
absolutely
hear
correct.
that there was that they offered Jerry, your favorite owner, threw out some money to the wide receiver, the quarterback, and the running back. Did you hear anything about that, Vince? Uh,
Yes, and
Danielle?
Dak want he thought he offered Dak 30, I think it was 30 million, he wanted 40 million. So they're $10 million apart for a year. And he seems to be hesitant. I'm not sure the numbers that he offered Cooper, and I'm not sure what they offered Zeke either. But Zeke has not responded yet. But Dak did and said, "Okay, yeah, I hear you, but I'm gonna turn that down. I want 40." So now they still, but the difference be Cooper and Dak are they're in camp. They're working. They're preparing for the season. Has not said without a contract he will not play.
Okay, hold on a second. I was reading what Danielle said. He was saying that Bishop Gorman is a nationally ranked both football and basketball, and that they've been able to dominate the state in Nevada due to the talent spreading when more high schools started to go up. Niners, okay. According to the sources, Oh, then he did respond. He said, according to the sources, Dak wanted 40 million.
Correct.
Oh, so how far apart is Jerry Jones from Dak?
$10 million.
Oh, I thought that you were saying that Zeke wanted 40 million, but it was Dak.
Zach, they offered him 30. He wanted 40.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that was Zeke, but what
Zeke,
about the running back?
Zeke has not. Elliott is not. He wants to discuss a contract. They are not willing to do that. So he said, without a contract extension or a new contract, he will not play. So they said, "We'll come to camp. We'll talk about it." He said, "No, I'm not doing that."
Where you think that's going to place the Cowboys?
They will definitely miss him. They've got another couple of backs in it that can run the ball well. But when you got you don't have your top players on the field, you cannot expect to be the best you can be. Will they compete? Yes. Will they be competed at the highest level? I don't think so. I think you
Well,
got
no,
to have all
I
your.
mean, of course they are a better team with them, but I guess the questions asked is that can they win
I don't think so.
without it?
I don't think they can. I think that again, I think they can compete, but I don't think they can reach their ultimate goal without him. You cannot have skilled players at positions that you don't have on the field. That's why they're your starters. They're the best at what they do. He's proven himself to be a very lead running back, led the league in rushes and all of that. Then Jerry makes a statement that you don't need a championship running back to win a championship. What an idiotic thing to say. Why,
Well,
that's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
he's not saying it because it's true, Vince. He's saying it because he's throwing stuff out there. He's trying to say, you know what he's
You
doing.
you
He's being a
you you take
businessman.
his
It won't have nothing to do with the
defense.
truth. It just has to do with
You take his defense
his
as
pockets.
there are several people in today's media who do the same thing, who say one thing and mean something else, but we only understand what you said. We don't know what you're thinking. We know what you said. Now you can come back and tell me that that's not what I meant. I was thinking this, but that's not what you said. And that is what he's on record saying that, and that is stupid.
Well,
It is no way I don't care if that's a negotiation tactic or not. You came out in the public and made such a bold, idiotic statement that speaks to your level of your intelligence, not to your level of your art to negotiate a deal. That's a stupid statement. That's your best. That's the best back you got, and you don't need him to win, and you didn't win when you had him. Come on now, how does that sound? Now you're healthy. You got three. You got your three top guns. We should have gone into camp with those guys signed and ready to roll. We didn't do that. That's on management.
well, well, Donnell is saying that he should get at least 35 million guaranteed. David Johnson,
Whatever.
just like David Johnson and Bell, and he won't get Gurley money, which is 45 million guaranteed, but he should definitely get the 35. Is what
He
Donnell said.
deserves whatever he's asking for, or the ability to negotiate. He deserves that. Whatever those numbers come out to be, I don't know, but I do think you deserve to have a meaningful conversation. The meaningful conversation is the fact that we want to get everybody in camp so we can be prepared from day one to compete for our ultimate goal. We're not prepared. We're not 100% prepared if we don't have our starting running back on the
Yeah,
field, and we're
Donnell
not
is
ready to
making a
go.
comment that you remember when Emmett held out for two games.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But it's going to be an interesting season. I'm actually looking forward to it. Now I'm going to get back to your Cowboys, but I'm trying to, Vince. You hear me say this all the time, man. I really have a problem with what we have done with these. I don't call them athletes anymore. I call them rock stars. And when you Antonio Brown making a comment that you're going to quit football because you don't like the helmet, okay, but I certainly wouldn't miss you. But why would that to me is idiotic. That's just I don't even know what to call that. You acting like you 3 years old. I mean that how to respond like that is what I'm saying. It's
The
just a crazy thing
response
to say.
may not be the most way to do that. The concern that he has, I think, is a valid concern because even the NFL has addressed that. They're trying to make it safer for those guys to play ball. Now,
Right,
his argument about a specific kind of helmet, in my opinion, could have been addressed in a totally different way, in a totally different venue. That does not have to be so much of a public issue. You sit down and discuss it. We talk about it. We try to come to some negotiation about it and reason it out. If we can't do that, then I can see you making this thing public. But his method of his delivery and that make takes away from the seriousness of the issue because it sounds so ludicrous for him to come out that way. I really understand. I personally understand the concern, but I don't understand the method.
right.
I think that looks it cheapens the idea of what you're talking about because I think he has a valid concern. Now, like for instance, Witten from the Cowboys said that he was okay with the helmet, and you're going to have some guys that don't have issues with it. And Antonio wants the helmet that he had. Well, and I can understand familiarity, and I can understand you're comfortable with it. But according to the new standards, it's not safe. So if you go out there and get hurt wearing that old helmet, the league is going to be liable because they are providing you a better model, and you don't want to go there. I mean, I can understand the concern, but that's not the way to address that. I don't think. Okay, now
Well,
he has a platform, and he can do that, but it cheapens the seriousness and the integrity of the issue by the way he's doing. I'm gonna quit football. Well, that's your decision. You can go ahead and do that, but how does that fit? How does that address the concern that you have? Because once you leave the game, nobody cares. Nobody cares when. I mean, it's only
it,
valid if you're in.
well, that's my point. My point is that he gonna quit. Like he said, he gonna quit football. Like somebody gonna miss him. Like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna stop watching football because
Well,
he's not
he
there. It's like really.
he brings a lot. He brings some stuff to the table. I don't disagree with that. He's a personality. He plays the game at a high level. I mean, the game will go on. I mean, the game's not going to stop because he wasn't there. Um, Perhaps his fans would miss him, but from a general football perspective, we're gonna miss you when you retire anyway. So if you go early, it doesn't matter.
Well, Donnell was saying that Brady had issues with the helmet, but I think Brady handled it differently, didn't he? I mean, Brady didn't say anything about, you know,
He has not made a public statement.
right.
Again, I think the issue is a valid concern. It's a great point. I just think that I know what he's trying to do, and it just doesn't fit well for him. It makes him look silly. But I think the point that he's trying to make is a valid point.
It looks like they're going to, who was that? I'm trying to think of, is it Golden Tate that's suspended?
Who's that?
Golden, is it Golden Tate? Is it Tate? I think I think they upheld the 4 games suspension,
Yeah, yeah.
and he was caught. I guess he said he didn't know the drugs of whatever it was that he was taking was illegal, or he didn't know that he was taking the drugs. What was his comeback on that?
He had allegedly, and he's this has happened to several athletes, valid or not. I do understand to some degree that you may now be some type of drug, if you will, that was not on the banned list, that later went on the list. And maybe you don't know it's on the list and you use it anyway, or it's in some other drug in a small amount and you get tested and it pops. But I think the user and the person that's giving it to you, especially if it's a medical professional, you should know what's available, what the circumstances are around the drugs that you're using. It happens so frequently that I think people have a hard time believing that you accidentally did that. I know for me it would be, I mean, maybe one time, I could get it, but then you got 9 people that accidentally used a drug that was on a bandit list. It looks suspicious. It looks like you're trying to get around it. And I think in order to make the sports have integrity, you have to have these issues. You have to enforce them. They have to be enforced because for a long time I felt like they were damaging professional sports because they were not holding their athletes to the standard of excellence by allowing them to get away. And I still think they're too lenient in several areas of their punishment. That if you were in civilian or if you were working in a corporate environment, you would be prosecuted or fired.
Did you see where HBO is trying to make an offer to 4 different colleges? They want to do something like Hard Knocks, except for it's the college. And I know Alabama is one of those teams. Did you did you see that?
I haven't seen that, but I think that would be excellent to see the behind the scenes activity, what goes into some of your top program, any program, because there are a lot of people who don't understand the time and effort that goes into getting that team ready to play on that Saturday or that Sunday. It's far more to it than what most people imagine, particularly if you've never played. And maybe, you played high school ball, but you never played college ball, or you played college ball and you never played in the NFL. These are major steps from high school to college and college to pro. I think it would be great to go behind the scenes to see what these kids go through. I thought the issue that Bethune-Cookman, the band, did on the marching orders was a great insight to a very highly respected college band, one of the top in the country, how they got to be that way and what they go through to get to that. How lives are impacted both positively and the highs and lows of being a college student. The rigors of being a student athlete or a student musician or a student cheerleader, whatever it is else that you do, I think that needs to be understood because I think it's misrepresented sometimes. You don't have an appreciation for that young man and that young lady in the band. You think it's just a breeze for them. They got courses, they got demands from the band. One of the things I think people misunderstand, I believe, is that when you look at elite programs, whether it's a top-rated band, top-rated debate team, top-rated football, basketball, whatever sport, when there's high expectations. There's no mediocrity there. And you got to put in a lot of time because the team standard is so high, that the performance level that they're on Alabama. You can't go to Alabama and don't go to class. You're gonna slack off. You can't do that because they demand that you be eligible to play. I mean, I'm just using Alabama, but I mean that's
Right.
UCLA, that's Clemson, that's Florida State, that's Miami. I don't care whether they winning or losing. You can't go there and play because the expectation is so high. So you're my top recruit, and you're not going to class, which means I can't get you on the field. That won't work. Or I can't get you on the ball diamond. I can't get you in the gym because you're doing social activities that affect your. So it's a high level, and those are demands, and those kids have to meet that. I think that needs to be understood better. I see it myself at my level, and I've seen a little bit at the college level. I think that would be a great showcase to show how tough it is on these kids.
Yeah. Speaking of, let me say hi to a couple of people. I want to say hi to Teresa and Veronica just came on. She didn't know that throughout the show, we were talking about Rains High School, and the reason why I know Rains so well is because of her. And I told you, Vince, that Coach Elijah Williams, invited me later on this month, and I haven't been to Rains. I won't even tell you how long it's been since I've been to Rains High School, but he invited me to go to Rains High School this month because Jones High School is going to go play Rains at Rains, and from what I understand, I think they are back-to-back state champions. So that should be a great game. Um, just wanted to say hi to her real quick because I see that she came in, and she would be surprised to know that sometime this month I'm going to be back at your old high school, girl. And so and I'll definitely give you an update on Jones, Vince, because I know you would like to know how he's doing over there.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, I wanted to ask you about the Raiders. Do you think the Raiders will do anything this year?
I think they'll be a better football team than they were last year because he's had a year now to take them and try and make whatever moves they could to get the type of player that he wants and get his system worked in. I think they'll be better. Are they going to be a top contender? I don't think so, but I think they'll be a better team than they were last year. And they may surprise and move up a little bit higher than you anticipate, but it takes a while to put a winning program on the field. And they've got to learn. It's a lot of adjustments. So I do think they'll be better. I think they could be a little bit exciting at the same time, but will they be in the playoffs? I don't think so.
Are the Browns is going to be as good as they claiming that everybody, all the rumors and all the talk? Danielle, I'm asking you as
I hope
well. You
so.
you think the Browns are going to be as good as what people
I
saying?
hope so. If there's ever been a franchise that I actually started to like just simply because they've suffered so much, it's the Browns. I would hope that they have a better showing because they have struggled so much. They had so many, such an uphill battle, and it may come together. You had time to to build this, and maybe this is the year. So I certainly hope. I'm rooting for them. Right now, I don't know. I saw a little bit of a preseason game a couple of days ago. They were very competitive for the time that I saw them. So I hope this will give them an opportunity to be competitive.
And it's like luck just doesn't seem to have any luck. It's
Well,
serious.
I don't want to talk. I don't ever want to kick a person when he's down, but I always thought luck was overrated, and he's never really played to the level that I thought that they expected from him.
Hmm.
And then number two, he's not been able to be healthy. So that's a key point for him there. If he could stay healthy, he's shown sparks of what he like. And I think if he could be healthy over a longer period of time, you probably would see some very exciting football from him. But he can't stay healthy.
Yeah, because I mean, I mean, he's not a bad quarterback. I mean, he's a good quarterback. He just can't
But
seem to stay
consist,
on the field. You know.
yeah, if he can stay on the field, as I believe he's going to do some good things. He has the big P word, the potential to do that. But it's just in order to do that, you got to be on the field. You got to be playing. You can't be
Well,
sitting out because it hampers your growth. So and every time he comes back and he's playing, you can see him building to that point. You can see him building, building, and then he gets hurt and he's back, he falls back and he has to start over again.
well, Vince, you can't mention luck without mentioning RG3. What happened?
RG3, in my opinion, and he's he fell from grace. Injury. Injury hurt him really bad, and I don't think he rehabbed well coming back. Some say he came back too early. A lot of people lost confidence in him because of his performance after coming back, and he just kind of fell out of sight for a while. But there's been some very positive comments about him. He's being looked at now as the backup quarterback, and but young man, I thought was a decent, I think he did not, in my opinion, he did to the NFL game for the type of quarterback that he was, because he was trying to run too much. I just didn't think that was in his. You can run when you need to, and being able to move around in the pocket, but he was trying to be a running quarterback, and this is not college football.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. He just fell from grace like, you know, he was making his
Well, you
subway
know,
commercials and he
mm,
just, you know, just like that.
well, again, once you when you especially in that world, if you're not there, I mean, don't use you. You be present in order to get the most out of it. And with that injury that took him out of the spotlight, he wasn't playing. And people don't relate to and honestly in marketing, if you the only way they relate to you, you got to be present in front of them. You're not in front of them, the marketing scheme won't work, especially for new guys. So that was his situation. But again, some positive comments about his comeback or his coming back. So that's good to know that she's someone, the fact that he has a job says an awful lot.
You know, couple of things real quick. I had said to you that, and I don't know if you remember this, but I was going to try to get my cousin to come on the show. She 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 had two sons that was drafted in the NFL, and one right now is trying to make the Kansas City's Chiefs. And so I would like for her to come on to talk about what it's like to coach these athletes in these days and times. Because the oldest son was the back when him and Gurley was sharing time. Well, they both were the running backs for Georgia when Gurley was there. And he was drafted by the Washington Redskins, but because of injuries, as a matter of fact, he had the fastest time at the combine. That year it was about 3 years ago that he was drafted by, I think it was Washington, and he was injured. I think his sophomore year. I think he came back. He played one more year after the injury. Then he went into the NFL. And then I think that same leg something happened. But the point of it is that I would love for her to come on to talk about what is it like to have two sons that was drafted in the NFL.
Mm. Unique situation.
Yeah, yeah. I know when Georgia came here, they came to play at the time at the Citrus Bowl, and she came, and so we had a chance to see them play here, and had a chance to talk with her. But she's her daughter played. No, 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 no. See, I'm getting them mixed up now. I'm, I'm getting her brother mixed up with the daughter. No, her brother comes here, but her other daughter comes here for I don't know. I think it's Chili. See, now I'm getting them mixed up now. But they do come to Florida, doing out at Disney a couple of times a year. But now they're in college now. So, and I'm talking about the daughters now. So I'm getting them totally mixed up. But I do want to invite her on the show, and she said that she would come. So we're gonna try to set that up, and it'd be great to talk to the husband too, because he played ball as well. and and also to ask how is the son doing, because I was calling and the grandmother said, I can't talk right now because we're getting ready to watch the Kansas City Chiefs, and my grandson is getting ready to play, blah 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 blah. So, and said that he played uh, a lot in the second half last week. So
Mm.
hopefully we can, you know, hope that he will make the team.
Yeah, it's always nice to hear from. I'm always interested to hear from parents and family who has a son or daughter that's able to make that next level because it's a brand new experience. There's some very unique experiences that go on there, and it's a lot of jubilation, but also a lot of heartache.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it is
I mean, for you as well, Vince, because I mean, to be at schools like James Madison in Georgia, who have these great programs, and you got these two-star athletes, and what it's like on game day, because they're out there, they're doing the what you call it, tail tailgating. So they're doing the tailgating and having a great time, and they, I mean, they doing it, big, and because it's like it's heartfelt. So to be so that involved in it from the standpoint that you have your child there, I would love for her to share that, and what it's been like. And plus, like when I'm like talking to my aunt, which is the grandmother, she's all excited as well. So the family and everybody get all excited. So,
oh, absolutely.
which is, you can share your experience, because if my son is at North Carolina and they getting ready to play Duke, there's nothing bigger in America at that time. So that whole experience right there. What is it like being at a North Carolina Duke game? What is that like?
That's a very unique experience, especially if you're in Cameron Indoor Stadium. The Cameron Crazies are just that. It's an electric feeling that I've been to a number of sporting events, and that is a unique. Whether you're in the Dean or whether you're in Cameron Indoor, it's electric in there. I mean, it's just oh man, it's so exciting and so intense to be involved in that, and depending upon how your team is doing, it's undescribable. And it's interesting that both arenas were constructed so that no matter where you are, if you're in the men's room, at the concession stand, or walking down the hallway, you can always see the game. They made sure because the Amway Center out in after Carolina, a couple of stadiums built with that format that you can always be able to look and see what's going on. FedEx Center in Memphis is the same way. They got televisions all over the place, no matter where you go, so you can see. And that comes from those high intensity rival situations that you have right there. That I tell you what, man, if you as a sports fan, it doesn't get any better. And the Cameron craze is the kids are Cameron crazy. They stand up the whole game, make noise, hands waving. I mean, it's unbelievable. I had that experience twice. Unbelievable, unbelievable. I mean, it was. I just I missed part of the game watching the Cameron crazies. I mean, as much as I love Cameron, more interesting. It was a couple points more than the game itself.
Right.
I and I can get that because I think you saw in the video that I you know our section here at my high school is they are wild. They remind me a
Wow.
lot of the very, very unique situations and presentations and how they they dress alike. They got some great chants and they travel.
Right.
And they travel. Wherever we go, we can look up. We got about 40 of them bad boys, 40, 50 of them travel no matter where we go. And that's a real welcoming feeling. So, yeah, that's the exciting thing, man. It's exciting. And not to mention the play on the court is is exciting all by itself, but the excitement around the arena is unbelievable.
Now, for us, the basketball team there in Tennessee, what's the furthest you guys ever traveled to play a basketball game? What's the furthest you ever traveled? Have you guys ever
We
traveled out of
went to
state or
Alabama.
anything like that?
We went to Alabama.
Oh, okay.
We played up in up in the Indiana area to play ball. So we try to, and then we go to Kentucky, Western Kentucky, Bowling Green, every
Okay.
summer to play 2 or 3 days up there that we go. We wanted to go to Florida, and we may eventually make it back to Florida, but right now we find what we need within right around us. So the need to travel sometime. We just wanted to take a team to Florida, just to let the kids. A lot of kids vacation in Destin, Florida, and up in that area. But we want, and a couple of them actually go to Orlando. So we've kind of wanted
Okay.
to take them down there, kind of let them see it through our eyes. But I haven't been able to pull that off yet. But around us, we get around pretty good.
I saw where Ty Lue may be hired by the Clippers. Did you see that?
Yeah, and I don't quite understand why, but um, I have a lot of faith in the Clipper organization. I question this, but I have a lot of faith in them. Maybe I like this a better fit than having him being with LeBron. This may be a better fit, so it'll be interesting to see how this comes off. Then it'll be also interesting to see how well he works with Doc.
Mm-hmm. Um, I was intending to ask you this last week, and I kind of got a yay and a nay on this. What you think of LeBron and when he goes out on the floor with his son doing warm up? What you
I
how do you
don't.
feel about that?
For me, now I'm old school about that kind of stuff, and I can only relate to when my children played. I felt like that was their time, especially as old as his kids are. And in particularly he's a professional athlete. I think you sit in the stands and cheer for your kid and let your kids have that opportunity. Because and I'm not saying this is his mindset because I don't know his mindset, but from what it looks like, you are stealing from that child's opportunity to play. That's his time. You're running out there dunking all over like somebody like it's your time. You do that for a living. Do that in your arena. Do that on your time. Let your child have his time and be a good dad, be a parent. Is the way and I'm old school about that. And I can only think about when my kids were playing. I didn't have the status that LeBron has, but I did know that this was their time and not my time. Nobody
That's
came to see me. They came. These are the playing. When we play in the park or we play at the gym when it's okay, then I do my stuff. I thought it was a bad thing to do, uh, and I didn't think it was. A lot of people have a different opinion, and gosh, everybody can have an opinion. I just think it's disrespectful to his status as a player and a dad, and to his own child. Get out the way, man. You play on TV,
he can't help it, Vince.
you're sick.
He can't help it. I mean, that's just how they are now, Vince. It's just that all eyes on me, the spotlight always on me. That's what I was talking about. Antonio Brown. That's just how they are now. It's just like it's all
Well,
spotlights on
it's
me.
not
I
all
mean,
of
that's
them,
just how they
but
are. Rock, the rock
it's not
stars.
all of them, but it's not all of them are not like that. And some of these guys deserve for some of the situations and stuff that they encounter. But this is unnecessary. And, again, I'm old school. I may step with everybody, don't see anything except their opinion. But in my opinion, that's terrible. Sit your behind down somewhere. And let this boy enjoy his time and show yourself. People pay to come see you play on when it's your time. Your son not out there doing warm ups. He's not out
Yeah.
there doing the time. You're out there on the floor. Why are you out there? So he and that's the controversy I have with him. He makes him off the court in some of his business dealings and his philanthropic activities. LeBron does some outstanding stuff, but a lot of stuff he do on the court is so dumb and it's so selfish, so not thought out to what he. I mean, I just don't get him sometimes. But again, it's my opinion, and those people who like him think it's okay, and maybe some people don't see anything wrong with it, and I appreciate that and respect them for that. But in my opinion, I think it's wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair. I think he's cheating his son, and
Real
some think
quick, uh,
he's supporting him. I don't think so.
so Serena had to retire. I think in the first match because of back spasm. I
Yeah,
was, and I think that she was. I don't know if she's going to be able to play in the next one. But did you see that?
yeah. Listen, Serena is a heck of an athlete, no question about that. Uh, but just like Tiger, man, Tiger, um, because of the level that they compete at, when they have injuries, it definitely is their efficiency. And then for her to come back and try to do it. So, and then anytime you say anything about back, I get extremely nervous. Look how many back surgeries Tiger had, to just get back so he can play. And I hope she doesn't have to go through that. And then having had that child, I don't care what nobody say, that's a major change in her body structure and her body function. And I don't mean it as a negative, it's just a fact of life. And so she may be coming to that point. I don't know if she's ready to give it up yet. I don't think so, but I hope there's something that'll allow her to continue to play at the level she wants to play at.
Did you see any of the video on Simone? Man, unbelievable what she's doing
Yeah,
in
I did
gymnastics,
see
man.
that. Very, very finding her um, exciting to watch. I mean, I'm not a huge gymnastics person, but there's been a couple of people, and she being one of them, that really captured my attention to and her level of consistency. I think is the thing that gets me excited. How she's competing at such a high, and she just raising that bar. That young tennis player Coco, she lost in Wilmington, but that girl has been playing some very good tennis since then as well, which I find very, very interesting. That she continued just raising her value up and up each week. I also think we should briefly mention the situation, the Rich Paul situation,
Right,
LeBron's
right,
agent, and there. I think it was interesting that the NCAA came up with the rule
right.
that had to do with recruiting college athletes into the pros because he was representing pro athletes, and they're saying there is long because you do have to be certified. You're certified. They're saying that particular case, even fired, is going to make it so. That's a very touchy situation there, and I was very, very curious to see how they would handle that. Um, that's a major reversal. It didn't take him long to turn around and change that because that was about to be a firestorm.
Right.
Uh, but but again, I mean, what's the rule? So you have to be certified. And I think, and I know a couple of agents, and they have the degrees because they are looking at college players, and that's one of the things that they're saying. And they are certified. They're certified basketball and they're certified, I mean, NBA and certified in the NFL. So as long as he has his certification, uh,
Right.
which obviously he has, it should be. They can't I really have to get what cause concern because everybody he has right, like, maybe because he was dipping into some young athletes coming up because all of his clients are all NBA players. So I thought
Okay.
that was in, but I thought the role reversal on that. Also found it interesting that Antoine of my son, it was hired by Washington Wizard Michael Jordan. No, 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 Charlotte. I'm sorry. That was he's in Charlotte of the Wizards as a director of pro personnel. So he's getting back into the game. I found that very interesting that he's coming back to the game, and because he did pretty good while he was there. Also noticing that Popovich continues his he and Steve Kerr have such strong political views for athletes and coaches, and he was a little overtaken about commends Kaepernick for his very patriotic things that he are doing. These are two guys that stand strong, and I like them because they share their opinions and they share them honestly. Even if I don't agree with them, they really take the time to not hide in the sport and not hide from what's going on around them. Really their minds. I thought very nice. And then I've also noticed that this guy Tashe Joseph Tashe is going to pay 2.35 billion to buy up the Nets. That's that's amazing.
That's a lot of money.
That certainly is a lot of. I don't know if you remember. There's a kid by the name of Terra Fair. He and
Oh yeah,
Derek
yeah,
White
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And
Jr.
he's going to be serving some
Came
time, huh?
3.5 years in prison. He and Derek Washington Jr. went to Edgewater High School. I think it was Edgewater he went to. They were at one time were 1-2 out there in the marketplace, and big rivalries. Fall from graces for him. Hard times, I imagine. Then you look at Lowry pulling out of the FIBA World Cup. I'm really understanding that those guys are really trying to protect their bodies. He just signed a huge contract and stuff. They want to prepare themselves for the upcoming season as I think they should. Especially, he's not a young guy anymore. He's not one of these 19, 20-year-old guys. And that's a lot of wear and tear. And we talked about that last week. And I'm just reiterating that again, that's that wear and tear on that body, man. You got to take care of that body, and they want to be ready to play and honor that contract that he's getting. Of course, he wants to compete for another championship, which I don't think he'll get. But anyway, he gets to compete for it. And
Yeah.
Bagley withdrew. He withdrew as well. So um, uh, I think they're going to have a competitive group. A lot of people don't think it's not one of the best groups they've ever had. But I would say they're still NBA players. And you still got some pretty good talent out there. And so it's still, to me, it's going to be interesting. And I put a lot of faith in Pop and his staff and what they're going to be able to do to help these kids get along. So when they get a final roster, I'm still banking on USA all the way.
Yeah. All right. Well, as long as they play hard, they should be
That's
okay.
the key. They got to, yeah. And I think Pop will have them ready to play. They'll be ready to go. They'll be ready to go, and they'll just have to get out there and get it done. I mean, it won't be easy, but they're gonna have to get out there and get it done.
All right. All right. So Anything special you got going on for the weekend?
Getting ready for basketball, man. I'm gonna be watching a little basketball, doing some studying this weekend. Watching a little volleyball. Our volleyball team is playing. I intend to go watch a little bit of that. Going to go to the movies. Got a chance to see Hobbs and Shaw last week, which not this past weekend, weekend before that, which I thought was a great movie, very entertaining. I want to go see The Kitchen that came out this week too, and then coming up on the 23rd will be Angels Are Down, which is a good movie. So I try to get as much movie going in before the season starts because once it starts, I just don't have time. So that's
Okay.
on my agenda. But as always, I will have eyes on basketball.
All right. With that being said, I am hanging out with the original Coach Carter, where we come to you every Wednesday at 11 p.m. right here at www.uccentralsports. We're on Twitter, Periscope, and Facebook, and YouTube as well. So you make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit the like button there on Facebook. Appreciate that. And with that being said, I, it's it's starting. Is the temperature starting to go down just a little bit there in Tennessee?
Uh, just a little bit. We're still
Yeah.
up in the 80s, close to
Okay.
90, but our evenings are getting a little cooler.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, again, appreciate all of you that's tuning in. And Donnell, thanks for your comments. Always appreciate you. And with that, Coach Carter, as well as myself, enjoy the rest of your week. You be blessed.